Hi, phono friends. Happy Friday. Don Wilson here. Another exciting episode of As the Record Turns. Been on a bit of a Stollwerck kick lately since I got one of these guys. Now I've got another. This is one of the bigger 4.5 inch ones. As time went on, I think in 1903 they made the 3 inch. And then in 1903, later in 03 or maybe in 04, they made these 4.5 inch. This one's a little different in that it's just a thin layer of wax on top of some sort of cardboard or similar fibrous material. It's in the early stages of delamination, so that made molding it particularly challenging. This was the solution that I came up with, was in order to keep silicone from coming around the sides, and usually if it comes around the sides there's going to be a little bit of spill under. To prevent that from happening, as you can see here, I taped all around it with a good grade of masking tape and put plenty of releases. So now we can start to gently pull this away. I did do a small test, of course, of both the silicone and the masking tape on the backing, and well, everything went well, or wouldn't have gotten this far. So now we're going to take the tape off the edge. So far so good. We can see that everything's releasing real clean. And so what this should allow is that the silicone is only sitting on the grooved area. Hopefully, and I'm very confident about this, or of course I wouldn't have done it, the silicone is just sitting on top of that wax, and it is not in a position to seep underneath between the layers. So that means that, and I also used a soft grade of silicone. You can see here that that's very soft. Around a 15A is the sure number for any of those interested. That's a very soft silicone. And we've gone around the perimeter to make sure that that released. And we can see that 360 degrees around. Now we just have the center. And look at that, wonderful separation. Not a single speck of wax having come off with the mold. And it looks great. We can look at it on an angle for air bubbles. And let's see if I can zoom in and get a little magnification for you. We've got good sunlight here in the afternoon coming in through the side window here, so we can see that fine detail. Look at that, it's gorgeous. Now let's compare that to the original. There are some oxidation spots. These white marks. Some people think they're mold, but I'm not so sure. I think that's oxidation. Breaking down of the metallic salts that make up the cylinder wax. But and here you can see stress cracks from, if I get that in the light just right, that's the wax sitting on top of this cardboard, and if we look in through the spindle hole, you can see that wax layer is really thin. Kind of like the 1902 Pathés, where it sits on plaster of Paris or concrete or something like that. It's just this really thin layer of wax, and can't really demonstrate it, but this disc is incredibly light. It's probably just a few grams in weight. Okay, So now we have a great impression of the playing surface. So the next trick is going to be to, this masking tape won't stick to the silicone because nothing sticks to silicone, so I'm probably going to have to build up with some clay around here to get a copy, and then, well, I'll make a few copies, and then I can do a repair on these 3 little spots right there where the wax has come off. And after that's done, I'll have another section for this video. And just as if it were a matter of seconds, we're back. So after weighing out the various options, what I did was I took an old decommissioned mold that's on my pile of records that I don't make anymore, and I just cut a big circle out of the middle, put it on this aluminum foil, draped it over just in case that this didn't work, to keep the resin from ending all over my workbench. But there was no real leakage. So as we can see here, this seemed to work pretty well. We've got a clean release from that side. Got some fluff around the edge that that will need to be cleaned up. But if we stretch this guy out of the way and put him over to the side, this is a quick setting resin that I used, so I could quickly see what the results were like. And it's still a little soft, so I should be able to cut around the perimeter with these scissors. This is going to take quite a bit of extra work for edge cleaning, so it looks like the original. But these things aren't exactly growing on trees. Gotta take what we can get. I'm very reluctant to use a knife on this because that could possibly slip and touch the grooved area. So I'll leave that for later. This cleanup's going to be quite laborious, and I'll mostly do this on a combination disc belt sander. But now, here's the top. Now we can take a quick look, do a little zoom in. Look at that guy. And we're going to compare that to this guy. The detail, the accuracy, the beauty. It's a wondrous thing. Okay, so now that I've completed tooting my own horn, I'm going to try to do some edge cleanup on this guy to get it playable, and then make a few more copies of this one so I can have extras for the repair process. Okay, folks, here we go. The edges have been taken down with a disc sander. I have not yet engraved the back, but you can tell by that glossy finish that this is sure one of my pieces of work. So I'm going to cue it up on the handy dandy turntable here, and we're going to see what kind of music we got on this guy. I don't know what it is about these stupid little records, but I just think they're hysterical. I shouldn't say stupid, you know what I mean. Um, Chocolate. I mean, it's just ridiculous. You know, I was looking up Stollwerck discography, you know, because there's got to be one out there, right? And all I can, Google just kept feeding me links to places to buy Stollwerck chocolates now. Hysterical. But so this record that we just heard, um, it the wax is flattened on a small part of the first three grooves. So trying to get it to track on the announcement's really difficult. You can hear that there's an announcement there, but um, you know, tracking there is going to be a little difficult. I may have to deepen the groove in those sections. And the parts where it really ticked are where there's those little bits that are missing. That those will be filled in with clay, and you know, I'll probably use a compass or something to add the grooves there, and then cast new copies. So for this record, this is the one that we just heard. This is the 4.5-inch. This was generously loaned by Mr. Scott Colgrove, and the 3-inch that you might have seen in the previous video was loaned by Rene Rondeau. If we look at both of them, we can see the difference. And the 3-inch came first, 1903, I think it was, and then I think the 4.5 was 1904. So there's a little more history. You've gotten to hear second of the Stollwerck records, with plenty more to come. So be sure to keep an eye on my YouTube channel. Hit that like button. Keep my stats up. And thanks for watching. By the way, always try to remember to put in my email address. Questions, comments, etc., etc., etc. Inflammatory statements that you would care not to share publicly. My email address is doninphilly@gmail.com. Feel free to send me any questions or comments. Thank you.